Okay, thank you for joining our training course. This is the second session for the risk management course. As I mentioned to you before, that the risk management is a very important topic, because I don't want to say most of the tasks of the security, but usually it is all the tasks depends upon the risk management. We will not be able to take any decision or install new solution, new application, new device without a risk management to make sure that we are highlighting all the risks and we are building the right security controls for these appliances or applications. In the last session, we start with the explanation of the risk management process itself, and we mentioned that this is the process of discovering risks and opportunities and how we can deal with these risks and in any organization, and how we can eliminate the risks and how we can exploit the opportunities. And we mentioned that usually in IT we are speaking about risks, we are not speaking about the opportunities, but it will be very important to understand that when you will have a risk, it does not mean that it's a bad thing. Sometimes it may be a good thing. And in this case, we have to exploit it. We have to utilize this bad thing for our organization and for our benefits. Risk management program, or if you are planning to have risk management, it will be very effective in your organization with some conditions. That risk management, it should be a part of your daily operations. It should be a part of your processes and activities. It should be a part of the organization governance and controlling and monitoring the security controls. Management should support the risk management because it provides them the required information for decision making related to business and protecting assets, which are helping in improving and achieving the organization goals and objectives. Also, we discussed the processes of the risk management, and we start with the risk management program, where you are defining a lot of information, which it will be very helpful to create a consistent output or consistent assessment for any risk. This is like the impact, how the impact it will be calculated, what are the factors which affect the impact, even if it will be the financial loss or reputation, laws and regulation compliance, market share, and whatever any other factor which it can affect the organization, even direct or indirect. Also, we explained the second phase, which is the the organization establishment or organization context. And we said that the organization context, it's a part, or it's the factors which are affecting the organization in doing business in the market. And we mentioned that there are some internal factors and external factors which affecting the organization and the way of doing the business in the market, and consequently it will affect whatever any risk management activities in the company. Especially also if you have the stakeholders, important stakeholders as customers, as vendors, partners, and they are very important for your organization, and you have to take their expectations and requirements as a part of the risk management, and to make sure that you are able to protect their data. You have to protect their privacy. You have to able to protect the information which you are exchanging with them, especially if you have a service level agreement between both of you. Then we start with the first step in the risk assessment. In the risk assessment, we mentioned that we have three processes. In the risk assessment, we have three processes. First processes, it will be risk identification, risk analysis, and risk evaluation. The risk identification, this is the third process, and it consists of many steps to define the assets. Assets are very important. Asset is the any entity which it has a value for the organization. This, I'm not speaking here about IT only. I am not speaking about hardware and software. It can be people, it can be time, it can be facilities, it can be transportation, whatever, any asset which it will be has a value for the organization. Why do we need to understand the assets? Because the risk management is based on asset. I have to understand the asset. I have to understand the value of this asset. Of course, when we are saying the value of the asset, I don't mean how much it costs. I want to say the value of the asset for the organization. If I will lose this asset, how the organization will be impacted. And also, we want to understand what are the asset vulnerabilities or weakness in these assets, which it can be exploited by any threat, and this it can cause the impact for your organization. Finally, we have to figure out or discover the internal security controls which you have in your organization beside the previous information in the risk identification process. After we defined all this information in the risk identification process, we will come to the fourth process, which is the risk analysis. The risk analysis, I can summarize it in a very simple equation that the risk equal impact multiplied by the likelihood. The impact, as we mentioned, how the organization will be impacted by any risk, and likelihood, how many times it can happen in a specific period. Usually we are calculated as per year. And give you an example how you can calculate the risk level. Risk level is very important because based on the risk level, we will define the acceptance, if we will accept the risk or not. If you can remember, we mentioned that we defined the risk level, which is called the risk appetite. The risk appetite, this is the risk which it can be accepted by any organization without affecting its daily operations or its presence. Then this means that the amount of loss will be very small compared with its revenue, for example, and usually the risk acceptance, it will be a percentage of the risk of the revenue, organization revenue. If we calculate the risk level as we did before, and we will do this again tomorrow or day after tomorrow in the practical scenario, you have to compare this to the risk appetite, if it will be accepted or not. And if we are saying that the risk it will be accepted, that this means that we don't need to take any action regarding this risk anymore, and we have to live with it and accept whatever we will lose because it's not a big value and we can accommodate this loss. Finally, we discussed the risk evaluation phase or process. The risk evaluation process, it will evaluate the risks. It will evaluate the risk and it will compare it with the risk acceptance level, and we will be able to highlight if it will be acceptable for the organization or we have to take further action related to this risk. This was a summary for the last session. I hope that we are able to remember the information, and I think it will be the right time to move into the PowerPoint slides to start a new phase or the next phase of the risk assessment. But if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to raise your question or to post the question in the chat. I will regularly review the chat and answer all your questions. I will share the PowerPoint presentation now. I think you are able to see it right now. As we reviewed in the last few minutes, we covered the phase 1, process 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we have to start with the risk treatment. Risk treatment, this is a process number 6 in the risk management processes. And the risk treatment, this means that you have to choose a treatment option for the risk. Now we understand that we have a risk and we calculate the risk level. And let's say that the risk level, it was 5. And we have the risk appetite, for example, 2. Then whatever any risks which its risk level higher than 2, it should be, I will not say mitigated, but it will, we must treat it. We must treat the risk. How we can treat it? We have some actions. What are these actions? They are very interesting, and I hope that you will be able to understand the difference between all of them. These actions are the risk modification or mitigation. Modification or mitigation. Risk avoidance, risk share, and finally risk acceptance. What is the risk modification? Risk modification, it is very simple. Why? Because when we say that we want to mitigate the risk, this means that we want to decrease the risk. If I want to decrease the risk, what are the factors which affect the risk level? This is a question for you, my friends. What are the factors affecting the risk level? Any answer?
اللي هو الامباكت اللي هو المقبول، الليفل المقبول للشركه تقبله، يعني نعمل ميتيجيتنج لحد ما نصل ل 2. مثلا لو هي 5 ريسك 5 لغايه ما نوصل ل 2، الميتيجيت يكون لغايه ما نوصل ل 2.
Okay, but when you are saying mitigate, what are the factors which we have to mitigate here? A risk factor, of course. Yeah, risk factor, if I calculate it as 5, I want to move it into, for example, 1. If I move it into 1, this it will be acceptable because my risk acceptance is 2. Then 1, it will be great. But what are the factors, or what are the factors which affect the risk level?
الامباكت واللايكود.
Excellent. Excellent. Yes, you are right. The risk level, my friends, if you can remember, we mentioned that the risk level, it can be considered in the form of a equation. What is this equation? It is equal to impact times likelihood. Then this, you have to keep it in your mind. When we are saying that you have to mitigate the risk or we have to modify the risk, this means that you have to implement any control which it will control or minimize one of these two, the likelihood or the impact, whatever. I don't have anything else. When we will have any security control to be implemented, it has to control one of these two, impact or likelihood. I have a technical firewall. Then the firewall, what it will do, it will eliminate the connection from the user. And this means that no unauthorized access will be able to log in. And this means that I'm minimizing the likelihood, and so on. But when we are saying mitigate, then this means that you are minimize the effect of the risk, or we are trying to minimize the risk level. And it will be great if we are able to reach to the level of the acceptance level or the risk appetite. Okay, what is the second option? I want your concentration here because it is a little bit confusing a lot of people. Avoidance. What do you think? What is the avoidance? Let's try to make some brainstorming. When I say I want to avoid the risk, can we avoid a risk, gentlemen? Can we avoid a risk? Is it possible?
100% no, but we can. تفضل.
تفضل يا عبد الله.
Yes, we can avoid it in case we have a hit for something, and we can avoid this hit. We can do it.
Okay. Well, Abdullah is saying yes, we can. Walid, what do you want to say?
To avoid 100% we can't. يعني cannot avoid 100%, but avoid I mean يعني we can يعني cancel يعني مثلا السيرفر هذا فوقه ريسك ممكن خلاص نكنسل الابلكيشن او السيرفيس دي نهائي.
Okay. Okay.
يعني حاجه زي كده.
Okay. On the chart, I can see Mohammed Sharawi by increasing security level and precautions. Okay, but this, Mohammed, it is not, but this will affect availability. Even this, it will not avoid the risk. This, it will not avoid the risk. This, it will mitigate the risk. This, it will be the risk mitigation. As I mentioned, that there is confusion between avoidance and modification. Then this, it will mitigate the risk. It will minimize the level of the risk, but not avoidance. Okay. By removing the activity. Abdulaziz, he is saying by removing the activity. Yes, I think this is the right answer. My friends, let me be very clear with you and mention this very clearly. No one can avoid risk in a normal situation. Anyone who will tell you that the risk, we are avoiding the risk 100%, he is a liar. As exactly as if you will tell you that you are 100% protected against any security attacks, he is a liar. Because we are quite sure that there will be some zero-day attack which we don't know about it, and even the hacker, we don't know about it now, but we will know about maybe tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, and we can exploit it and we can attack your network. This, it can happen. Very simple. Risks, it cannot be avoided. Why? Let me tell you a very simple example. Very simple example. What's your opinion if I'll tell you, my friends, now that Saudi Arabia, they released the travel conditions and you are free now, you can take your vacation, go home, see your family, and I know that we are almost locked inside Saudi Arabia since maybe 2 years, right? I think this is great news. And for myself, wow, I will arrange a trip maybe to Sharm el-Sheikh or Alexandria in Egypt, and I will take my son and my family with me. Then this is a good thing, right? Do you think that this decision is risky? Do we have any risks here? What do you think? Do you have any risk in this event?
يعني ممكن السيارة تعطل، ممكن أي حاجة تحصل في الطريق.
Okay, then you are saying yes, we have some risks.
Yeah.
طيب, I will tell you another scenario. What's your opinion, my friends? On Friday, we want to go to pray al-Jum'ah. Do you think that this decision, it's a risky decision? Please, I want your input. We are just, we are not speaking technically. Now we are speaking in the physical meaning of the risks. Then if you have anything in your mind, just share it with us. Do you think that if I decide that I will go to pray al-Jum'ah, this is a risky decision?
Yes, also. Maybe anything happening, weather, rain.
Okay.
Yes.
Muhammad Sharqawi over the risk, he is saying there is always uncountable risk. Okay. Yes, Abdullah, what do you want to say?
Yes, because maybe when I go by car, maybe I will have accident by car.
Yes, yes, you are right. Then, yes, you are totally right, my friends. Whatever any decision we are taking in our life, it is risky. Yani it is risky. I will not speak about going on a trip to have a nice time and all this stuff, but I will speak about the second example. The second example, which I want to go to pray Al Jum'ah. I think no one here he will say this is a wrong decision. Of course not. We have to pray Jum'ah. We know that Prophet Muhammad والسلام, he mentioned that if we did not go for Jum'ah prayer for 3 continuous days or weeks, this it will be as a trouble for you as a Muslim, and this is mandatory for us for Muslims, and we have to go to Jum'ah. But still it's risky. Risky? Of course it's risky. Because now, when I open my door and I will take my car, I can make an accident and I can die. When I go to the mosque and pray, there may be someone who have COVID-19 and I may be infected. And this infection, it can cause my death. There may be a problem that I will make a quarrel with anyone in the street, and I will go to the police station. There are a lot of risks, although some of them it is very rare, because to have a quarrel with one of the people who are praying, I'm not going to the mosque to make a quarrel, but it can happen, subhanAllah, it can happen. But okay, the likelihood here, it is minimum. It can happen once every 2 or 3 or 5 years, but still we have the risk. Fine. What we have to do? I have 2 decisions here. I have 2 decisions that I will accept the risk. I will accept, I know that I can be infected by COVID-19. I know that I can have an accident by the car. I know that all it can happen for me. But my decision, I will accept all these risks. Then this, which we call it risk acceptance. I will accept it. I will do the decision. I will do the risk. I will go to the prayer. Although I know that there are risks, I will accept the risks. Fine, okay. But do you remember, my friends, when we were locked in our homes by law, by regulation, and even the mosques are closed to avoid COVID-19? This is considered, what is the action? What was the action here, or the treatment option? It was avoidance. I want to avoid all the risks. Abdulaziz is saying avoidance. Muhammad is saying mitigation. No, it's not mitigation, Muhammad. It's avoidance. Why it is avoidance? Because I killed the event. I will not go to the prayer. I will stay home. I will stay home. Class, it's over. Then when we will say avoid, this means that you are killing the event itself. Another example. Now, you know that as a security consultant or security administrator, the marketing department, they came and told you that we want to publish a service or a new website for our customers to access data and our product information. It seems good. And when you think about it, you find that this will be very risky, especially you don't have the budget and you are not able to solve the, to provide the required security controls. Then you said, no, I'm really sorry. I will not accept or I will not approve the decision of publishing this website over the internet. Then this means that you killed the process, this which we call it avoidance. Okay. After some time, you had the budget and you said, okay, by management, you were planning to have what we can say, a website publishing. But we said that it will not be a good option because we will be in a trouble and we may face a lot of attacks. Yes, and we accepted. And we will not be able to accept it, sorry. Then they said, okay, I will be able to provide you a solution. What will be the solution? But we will not publish this over the internet, but we will provide the access for our customers and partners to this website through VPN SSL. Then what we have to do, we will buy a new VPN SSL, our company, and we will let partners and customers to connect through it and access the services. This, which we call it risk mitigation. We accepted the event and we installed a security control that it will mitigate the level of the impact. Okay? This is the mitigation. Then this the difference between mitigation and avoidance and acceptance. Mitigation, that you will have some security controls to minimize the impact and likelihood. Avoidance, you have to kill the event, you have to kill the task totally to avoid any risks. And this usually a good decision for army, for police, for government sections, a lot of, for example, let me tell you something. You know that in Saudi Arabia, we have the National Cybersecurity Authority, NCA. They followed the risk avoidance decision in the cloud hosting. They said you are not allowed to publish or host the data for any government section or CNI outside Saudi Arabia, period. Risk avoidance. I want to host it in Azure, in AWS, in Google. Sorry, it is not workable. It will not be working. This means that you are on compliance with the NCA regulations. Then here it's avoidance. Risk acceptance, that you know that it's risky and I will accept it. We have multiple scenarios here for acceptance. Scenario number one, that the impact, it will be minimum within the risk appetite. I will lose $1,000 if the risk happens. This is not a big issue. I can accept it and I can go with it. Other point, if the management says, yes, I know that this is risky, but for the business, we need to use it. We don't have any other option. For example, we have an application. It's very old application. It may be developed 10 years ago. Even we are not knowing what is the programming language used for it. And we don't have a source code of it and all this stuff. And we are not able to eliminate this application because it has a lot of data, which is very useful for our operations. And now we are planning to develop a new application, but I will not be able to terminate this application until the new application is up and running. When the management, they know that this is risky, and I am not sure that it will provide the up-to-level protection. Why? Because I am not able to review the code, I am not able to have any controls over it, and so on. Then now I will accept the risk. Although the risk is higher than the acceptance level, but again, this it will be accepted, and of course this is a management decision. By the way, my friends, just I want to highlight a very important point here. It is not our decision to say that we have to avoid something, or we don't have to do this or that. We have to show the business or the owner what is the risks, and they can accept it. In some situation, they may say, no, we have to accept this. It will be very important, and they are familiar with the business and business requirements better than you. You have to clarify to them. If they say, no, we have to accept it, that's fine. Here you are, the form, please write that you are able to accept the risk. If they sign for you, it's done. I will never say that you did not do your exercise properly. No, you did your exercise properly, because you clarified to them, you showed to them what are the risks and how this it will impact the organization, and we will not be able to achieve the goals and objectives. But by the end of the day, as a business owners, they are saying, yes, we accept the risk for whatever any reason. Okay? Then we will come to the last action or treatment option, which is the risk share. What is the risk share? Risk share is very easy. I want to share the risk with someone. How you can share the risk with someone? As insurance companies. Yeah, for example, now I have a data center. If there is any flood or earthquake or whatever, and the data center, it will not be operational, the insurance company, they have to pay me $1 million. Okay, that's fine. Then if there is a flood and I'm not able to operate my business because the data center is down, then we have to pay me this $1 million or whatever the value which it will be stated in your agreement with the insurance company. These are the 4 treatment actions. These are the 4 treatment actions. It is very important to understand the difference between all of them, because you have to be very clear. It's not your decision to choose which treatment action for each risk. It is not your decision to choose which treatment action you have to take for each risk. This is a decision of the management. You may be a consultant, you may be a recommender. You will say, okay, I think the mitigation, it will be best option here, or maybe avoidance, or maybe acceptance, or whatever. But by the end of the day, this it will be a decision for the management. Then you have to define the risks, and you have to provide this information to them. Then they will be able to find whatever the actions or treatment action it should be required. Okay. We have something called risk treatment plan, and mainly this expression, my friends, it's used in ISO 27001. In 27001. Risk treatment plan, this is a very important document in ISO 27001, and it's considered a very important document. And this, it will include all the risks and the treatment options for these risks. Then whatever the risk you will analyze during the risk assessment, the risk treatment plan should show this information. Risk description, what is the risk level which you calculated during the risk analysis. Treatment option, what is the treatment option? Management will decide mitigation, acceptance, whatever. What will be start and end date for any security controls implementation? Because don't expect that when you will make a risk assessment and you define the risks and you define the security controls, like the management, it will go, yeah, great, you did a great job, take this 1 million and go ahead and start the security control. This it will never happen. Because you know that by the end of the day, you must have a budget, and this budget, you may have some money of this budget, or this budget it may be fully utilized. When you have to prepare all the plans for the next budget, then you will not be able to implement the security controls right now, and you have to wait for the next budget. Then in this risk treatment plan, you have to define the treatment option. You have to try and be start and end the date for the implementation of the security controls. How you will monitor and measure these security controls is very important, not just to implement the security control. Security control, it is not important as is. You have to review and monitor it to make sure that it's doing its objectives, and this should be a continuous exercise. Then what are performance measures? What are the required resources to install the security controls? Who will be the responsible person, or in some situation we are called the owner? And finally, who is the person to be reported for the security controls? It can be the management, it can be the board of directors, it can be the CISO, whatever the title which you have to report this for him. Okay. The other phase for the risk management processes is the risk acceptance. Risk acceptance. What is the risk acceptance? This risk acceptance, we have two concepts here, my friend. You have to understand. Number one, accept the risk treatment plan, accept the risk treatment plan, and accept the residual risks. Wow, this is very important. These two concepts are very important, and we want to concentrate in the definitions here. What is the risk acceptance? The risk acceptance, it's informed decision, it's decision to accept a particular risk. Okay, I want to accept the risk. When we say acceptance of the risk, it is very important here to understand that now we discovered the assets, we discovered the risks, we discovered the risk levels, we discovered the treatment options and acceptance, finally treatment, risk treatment, and we developed the risk treatment plan with all the risks and what will be the action and so on. Management should accept this treatment plan by signature. Why? Management, as we mentioned, we have a very important role in the risk management because we have to give the risk management full control to make it as a part of the daily operations and the activities and processes of the organization. Also, we have to provide the required resources. This is very important. How can I implement security controls? I may have to buy some firewalls, VPN SSL, IBS. I have to make some modification in the administrative controls in the organization as job rotation, as separation of duties, as least privilege rights, to add some extra applications and hardware. This, it will require resources, money, and a lot of things which should be provided by the management. Then acceptance number one, it should come from the management, because when the management, it will accept the risk treatment plan or approve the risk treatment plan, this it will be considered as indirect approval or indirect support for all the information included in this plan. This number one. Number two, in the risk treatment plan, risk owners must approve it as well to prove that they agree about the risk treatments which it was chosen for each risk. Now I have a process, I have some weakness in this process and it's risky by some way. Then I have a business owner, and this business owner usually is the risk owner, and he has to approve that he agreed for the control which you suggested, and the management approve it, and he knows that this it will minimize or mitigate the effect of the risk, and he agreed about this action. Then in the risk acceptance here, we have number one, the acceptance of the risk treatment plan by the management and by the risk owners. These are two important factors which you have to take into consideration. This is considered as a buy-in, my friends. This is considered as a buy-in. Because when the management, it will support you, when the risk owner, he will support you, you make sure that whatever any activity you are doing, it will be done properly, because the owners, they support you, a risk owner support you, business owner support you. We have another concept which we have to think about. It is the residual risk. You remember when I told you there is nothing called that we can avoid any risk by mitigation. I can avoid any risk by eliminate or cancel the event. I will not do this exercise. I will not publish the server. If I will not publish the server, this means that I don't have any risks, because I did not do anything. You know the fact that you're saying, if you are, who is the person who never makes any mistakes? Who is the person who never makes any mistakes? Do you know? In the chart, Abdulaziz, he is saying who does not work. You are right. He is the person who is not doing anything. You are totally right. He is the person who is not doing anything. Then, in our situation here, if I say that I will use the concept of mitigation and security controls, I will not be able to say that I will minimize the risk 100%. He is a liar. I will not be able to do it. But what is my type? Okay, that's good. Let me ask you another question, which it will show us if you can understand the objective of this training or not. Now, you are telling us that if we are doing all this headache, risk management, asset management, discover vulnerabilities, risk analysis, risk acceptance, risk treatment, security controls, and by the end of the day, you will not be able to mitigate the risk 100%. Then what is the objective of the risk management, my friends? Can you tell me? What is the objective of the risk management if I am not able to eliminate the risks 100%? What do you think? This is
acceptable risk.
What do you mean? Yeah, what do you mean by acceptable risk?
We define acceptable risk, the risk with business can accept and.
Okay, يعني you mean that you want to minimize the effect of the risk to the acceptance level.
Exactly.
Okay. Any other feedback, my friends? Okay, this is the right answer. Because now our objective of the risk management, and usually this can be used as one of definitions of the risk management, because by the way, risk management, it has multiple definitions. In each course, yani, see risk from ISCA, you will find a definition rather than the, for example, ISO 27001, rather than the ISO 3100 and so on. One of the definitions for the risk management that to minimize the risks, organization risks within acceptable level. This is my objective. I want to minimize the risk to an acceptable level. This is my objective, to an acceptable level. Because I will not be able to minimize it to zero. This, it will never work. I have to accept it to acceptable level. Then, what is the residual risk? The residual risk, this it will be the risk which it will remain after the implementation of the security controls. Now, to make life easy, risk level for risk 1, it was 5. Risk acceptance level, it is 2. When this means that risk level 5 is not acceptable, you made mitigation, and based on this mitigation, the risk level it's increased from 5 to 1. Then what is the residual risk? What is the residual risk here?
1.
1. Excellent. Is it acceptable or not?
Acceptable. Yeah.
Acceptable, because it is with a less than the acceptable level. Then this means that it's okay. We still have a risk. I can understand this because we understand that we are not able to eliminate the risk 100%. Now we are able to eliminate it 80%, and this is acceptable for me because whatever, before we have to lose $100,000, now we can lose only $20,000, and this will be within the acceptance level. Okay, then now we have in the acceptance the residual risk. We have to understand the residual risk. It is very important, my friends, that you have to keep an eye on the residual risk, as we will define this later. I will clarify this later, but you have to keep an eye on the residual risk to make sure that this residual risk, it's not increasing. Especially the risks, risk level, it can be increased for many reasons. Okay.
الريزيدوال ريسك يا باشمهندس لازم تكون ليس عن اللي هو الريسك ليفل. لو هي كانت اعلى واكسبتد من الاونر، معناته لازم نرجع نغير في البروجرام نفسه من البدايه في البدايه، مش كده ولا؟
طيب. This is an excellent question, Walid. This is an excellent question. And I will repeat this question, my friend, in a different way because I want you to be familiar with this scenario. Now, Walid, he is giving us an excellent scenario. He is saying that, okay, we had a risk program and we made a lot of factors that the impact it will be, for example, acceptance, it will be 2 or whatever. And for some reasons, the management, they accept risk for 3. Then this means that we have to change the risk management program or not. Is this the right scenario, Walid, or I missed something?
Exactly. ايوه يا باشمهندس مظبوط.
Okay, excellent. It depends, Walid. It depends. In some situation, there may be exercise. It was not done properly in defining the risk management program factors. Then during the operations, you found that you can change these values based on the practical experience which you got it. And in some situation, the management themselves, they don't have the experience to say, okay, we are able to lose this value or that value, especially we are not technical people. And in some situation, we will tell you, okay, 10% of the revenue, it will be great. But for some other reasons, we will say, no, even 10%, it will not be workable. Because this, it will affect our reputation. It may be laws and regulation. In some situation, my friends, you will find the acceptance level, it's not standard. It will be variable. How it will be variable? For example, for compliance and regulation, acceptance level, it will be 0. Laws and regulation, it will be 0. Do you think that if you have information for European citizens in your company, the management, they will accept that they will not put any security controls over to protect this information and they will accept the level? If it will never happen. Why? Because we have to pay 2 million euro if the data it was leaked. Then in so other situation, they may have the acceptance level, variable acceptance level. For laws and regulations, acceptance level, it will be 1. For finance problems, acceptance level, it will be 1. For marketing, it may be 2, because marketing, we are ready to take some risks because we want to improve their shape in the market and win a lot of information. When we have multiple factors, it may be poor experience, or the exercise it was not done properly, or we can consider it be a continuous improvement. Risk management, it's not one day exercise. We have to, the risk management team, we have to work at least to do the risk management yearly. When this means that today the risk management, it was great, there may be some changes in the environment, maybe in the infrastructure. Today you are working by papers and notebooks, but tomorrow you had a new ERP system, and the new ERP system, it involves new risks and increase the risk service. When this means that whatever the risk program values which you define it later, it should be changed because it's not practical right now, and we have to make changes. When the changes of these values depends upon the continuous improvement. The management, we can tell you, yes, Walid, you are right. We think that we choose these values incorrectly, then we have to make these changes, or we will tell you, no, we will accept this only as acceptance or as a specific case for this situation, but we will go through with the other values. Then again, my answer, it will be, it depends how it will go. I hope that I answered your question. Do you have any comments or questions related to this issue, my friends? Because this is very important. Because of that, we are saying the risk management process, it's a continuous operation. And the concept of the continuous operation, it should be in your mind, usually which we call it the BDCA. BDCA cycle. Do you know what is BDCA cycle? Anyone? Any answer? What is BDCA cycle?
Plan, do, check, and act.
Plan, do, check, and act. You are right. Well, this means that you have to plan something, then you have to do it or implement it, then you have to check it, then you have to act by the improvement. And this the concept for any system management. Information security system management, privacy information management systems, it can be ISO 9000, whatever it is. This, it will be the concept which you have to usually follow it up. Okay, we will come to the last process in the risk monitoring, which the last process in the risk management, which is the risk monitoring. Risk monitoring, my friends, it's very important, very, very important. Why? You have to keep in your mind that you will monitor three things. You have to monitor three things. What are these three things? Number one, you have to monitor the assessed risks. The risks which you already discovered and assessed, you define the risk level for it. Okay, we can understand the risk level now. This risk level before the implementation of control, say it was 5. When the risk level after the control, it was 2. And this, the acceptance level, it's 2. When this one is accepted. You have to keep an eye on this risk level. Is it stable, or there may be some changes? Risks are changed. Why? Because we have many factors of changes which lead to change in the risk level or to introduce new risks, like the technology risks. Technology is changed. Today we have the AI, we have the digitalization, we have a lot of other technologies which are very important and critical for us, right? Then you have, again, the business and objectives are changes. There may be a new market, there may be a new challenge, there may be a new competition, whatever the reasons. But the factors for the changes are a lot, and you have to keep this in your mind. And consequently, all these changes, it will affect the risks. It may minimize the risk level, it may increase the risk level, it may introduce new risks, and so on. Okay, great. What else? Then we have to monitor the assess the risk levels. Number two, it will be the option number two, it will be any new risks. There may be some new risks, for example, some risks which we did not discover during the risk assessment, or it may be new risks because we are introducing a new service, new product, new technology, whatever. Okay, this is what we call it emerging risks. Emerging risks. This which we call it new emerging risks. The other thing which you have to monitor, which is very important, and usually it will be related to the risk monitoring, is the security controls. Security controls. You have to monitor your security control. Is it able to do or achieve its objectives or not? Whatever any security control you install it have security control objective. The objective minimize impact, minimize likelihood, decrease unauthorized access, whatever. Then you have to define the objective, because of course when you will make the risk assessment, you have to define that the suitable security controls are so and so, and this because we want these security controls to do so and so. To do so and so, this is the objective. Then we have to monitor it. We have to monitor it. Is it able to protect the infrastructure which we have? Yes, it will be able to protect it, and it will be able to do the exercise. Then thank you very much. We are really happy, and this it will do the exercise for us. Then the risk monitoring is very important. Also, the risk monitoring, it will be important for what? It will be important for the continuous improvement. The continuous improvement. How you will improve the risk management program? As Walid, he asked now, do I need to change the values? Is it make sense to change the values, or this it will be a special case, or what? But when you are monitoring the risks, and you can, for example, let me give you an example, my friend. What is your opinion in this case? You have an organization, and as a new risk manager hired for this organization, you found that the number of acceptance of the risk increases by the business owners. Number of risk acceptance increases by the risk owners. We are not taking mitigation or avoidance or share or whatever. We accept the risk. Why? Do you think that you have something wrong in the risk program, or what is the real situation, or what is the real action which you should take in this case? Any feedback?
Risk level, maybe increase the risk level.
Increase the risk. Risk what?
Accepted level.
Acceptance level. Risk acceptance level.
Risk acceptance, يعني we should increase it.
Okay. Okay. What else? What else, my friends? What will be your action? You will not take any action? Are you still there?
Yes, we are there. But I think the last decision with the owner, who is the one who will say accept it or not.
Okay. Okay, good. I think Walid and Abdullah, both of you got a good background from this course, and really I am proud of both of you. Walid, the answer which you mentioned is the right one, and this is from our practical experience. We found when we had a lot of risk acceptance that the risk acceptance level, it was not defined properly. When the manager or the business owner, we will say, okay, what about the loss? We will tell them it may be $10,000. Okay, $10,000 I can accept, but the risk acceptance level, it's $5,000. No, it's okay, $10,000. It's okay with me. I can accept it and go ahead with it. Well, usually this it will be the answer. The second thing, which it was mentioned by Abdullah, in some situations, you may find that people, they don't understand the importance of the risk. We want to do the exercise. We are looking under their legs. We are not looking for the future. And this is one of the main problems. And we have to make some education to them, for them. He will say, okay, I accept it. Come on, if you make this server, you will be in trouble. No, it's okay. Make the server and let the user to access the data. Type, okay. Data are leaked, you are in trouble. You have your news in the media, and we are saying that you are exposed, you are compromised, you are losing your market share. Are you ready for that? Oh, no, how can I solve it? How you can solve it? We cannot be able to solve it. We give you the right decision, but you refuse. Then in some situation, you may need to do the awareness, risk management, awareness for the users. These are some of the scenarios which we face it in our practical life. Okay. Here we finished all the processes of the risk management. I tried to make life easy for all of you. When you go through the recordings, you will find the definitions in these slides: risk management, risk opportunity, risk assessment, risk analysis, evaluation, treatment. I think you are familiar with these all expressions: risk acceptance, qualitative risk analysis, quantitative risk analysis, vulnerability, threats, risk treatment plan, residual risk, and we are done. We finished the part number 1 for the risk processes. I think we have enough time today. We have an option, my friend. And this, it depends upon you. I will create a poll for you, but we will, I really